Well, hey YouTube, it's Petey Two Finger here with an overlit, way too bright video. I'm putting together a buffer circuit here, which if this would focus, it's a low parts count. You can see how we have this marked up. The black marking is the ground, the red is the 9 volts in. Then there's an output and an input marked clearly on the left. So this is a JFET buffer. That's the image that I work off of to build it. We got somebody else, my partner here, handing me. Her job is being pretty. Anyway, we're going to be building these. This is the circuits we're going to build today. A DOT 250, an NE1 preamp, and a flatline compressor. We're building everything at once. So like I'll do all the resistors. Basically with two people we can do what's called tell me a story, where I'll say, okay, I'm on the bottom left, like we're below that green one where it says input. I'll say, okay, I'm on that hole. So I go over to the right, there's a 1M, it's a 4 going up. On top of it is a 2 cap, hot side facing down with a 1 gap on the top. Next row on the top, we're in row 3. Going down, there's a 3 gap with a 100N, that's a 3 with a 1 gap on the bottom. Over front and the bottom to row 4, there's a 10K, that's a full spanner. Starting from the top in the next row, which is row 5, there's a 1 gap with a transistor, which is rounded out on the right. 1 gap on the top, 3 gap on the bottom. Then we have a flip-flop for the next 2 rows. We've got almost a full spanner with a 1 gap on the bottom. Reverse for the next row, so it's a jumper, and then a 10K, and then a 3K, which is a 4 with a 1 gap and a 2 gap on the top. Top row is the ground, followed by 9 volts directly underneath it. So we can kind of talk to each other like that. I can choose to mark. I can use Sharpie markers. I like to use a few. It's nice to have a blue thin line, a black, and then a red. And with that, I could mark this up. Like if it's a complicated board, I could mark everything, all the placement, and then it's a lot easier. She can. I've got her handing me. She'll go, okay, this is R1. It's a 1M, and between like talking through it multiple times, it eliminates error. And with 2 people like her, she double checks. I always screw up the DOT 250. For some reason, I have a hard time with that. The cuts on the DOT 250, which this is a Windows 10 computer, and I really don't know how to use Windows 10.
I right click and hit open with our finger.
Okay, yeah. Here's the DOT. This is what I screw up. Today, the tape was off. The tape was crooked, so it revealed an extra row on the left, and she was counting from the top, and like, whoa. I started doing the cuts from the right, so I did it and it was right, but there was an extra row here, so she was like, oh, it's wrong, so she erased. What we do is we mark them with red, and then we drill them out. We remove them, because those red spots are where you've broken the copper. You stick a drill bit in and turn the drill bit till it cuts, it like drills half a hole in it basically and removes the copper. So we had a whole thing today of making marinade, a pineapple marinade for this fancy short ribs we're going to make tonight. It's Rob Fetter's show tonight, which we're not going to miss that. So I don't have a real lot of time to share with you guys, but I will be documenting more of this process. I talked about it in a video yesterday. What we're going to build is it's a cable TV box that I've hollowed out. And inside of that, we're going to have a buffer, a auto wah, which is the Electro-Harmonix bass balls. I already have that built, courtesy of PJP, Pinkster, Jimmy Photon. Thank you very much. So yeah, it's going to be a buffer, an auto wah, a compressor, a distortion, a DOT 250 modded, and a NE1 Yamaha bass preamp that has a volume, frequency knob, and then some switching for different tone, different EQ curves, you could call it. And the effect order, I believe, yeah, buffer, bassballs, compression, overdrive, and the preamp. And I'm going to have bypass switches for the bassballs and the overdrive. And it's a relatively small enclosure. It's not like a VCR. It's about half or less of a VCR. And it's going to have a battery pack inside of it. So that's what we're building. We're going to try to hustle and get this done. So I'm not sure how much filming it will be, but there'll definitely be a demo. And I'll show you as we go along. I'll shoot more. So they'll probably be separate videos. Anyway, the main thing I wanted to point out, could you turn that up a little bit? Yeah, this music. This is King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, the absolute best, coolest band. And this is what I listened to, used to listen to, Faith No More, Phantomus, and Mr. Bungle playlist. I had a computer where you would hit the power and it would come on and automatically play. So it was like a giant iPod, this computer. And we would just turn the power on and I would start working. Had it under a table. A big old, like 486 computer that was its only task. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me. I'll see you around. I always like to try to remember to say good thoughts, good words, good deeds, and peace.